Number 13. The length of a rectangular field is 6 meters longer than 3 times its breadth. What are the measurements of the rectangle if the circumference is 188 meters? Okay, so main thing here is we are dealing with a rectangle. You know, in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. Okay, you know the area of a rectangle is length times breadth, and perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. Okay, that's just by reading the word rectangular field, you know you're dealing with a rectangle. Right, so now, okay, we're given some information there. What are the measurements of the rectangle if the circumference? Okay, you see the word circumference, but circumference is another word for perimeter. It means the same thing. It means the distance around the object if you go along the edges there. Okay, so basically here you got 4 sides, so you add up all the 4 sides and that will be the perimeter. You got 2 lengths and you got 2 breadths. So you know the perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. Alright, so we need to form an equation. Okay, so how do we do that now? We need to represent our sides in terms of a variable, maybe a, b, x. Right, so what is the equation that we're going to form? Our equation is already formed here, you can see that. Right, so the key word here was circumference, which is perimeter. So you know perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. So we need to get our sides. We need to label our sides, our breadth in terms of x or y or a or b. I'm going to label it in terms of x. So now the length of a rectangular field is 6 meters longer than 3 times its breadth. So let's take an example if you're confused with that. So let's say that the breadth is 10 meters. Okay, if your breadth is 10 meters, then you are told the length of a rectangular field is 6 meters longer than 3 times the breadth. So if this is the breadth, what is 3 times the breadth? So 3 times the breadth, that means it's going to be 3 times 10, which is equal to 30 meters. This is 3 times the breadth. But the length is 6 meters longer than 3 times the breadth. Okay, so now this is 3 times the breadth. But your length, you take 3 times the breadth, and then you're still going to add 6 there. That will give you the length. So that will be 3 times the breadth plus 6. So plus 6, that means 6 meters longer. So 3 times 30, that will be 90, plus 6, which will be 96. I'm just using an example. Okay, now we do not know what the breadth is. I assumed that the breadth is 10 here, just to use an example. So if we do not know what the breadth is, let's call the breadth x. Okay, then you know your length is going to be 3 times the breadth and plus 6, because it's 6 meters longer than 3 times the breadth. Okay, so now what is the perimeter? We are given the perimeter, which is 188, which is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. What was the length in terms of x? The longer side there, remember opposite sides are equal. So we got 3x plus 6, and then your breadth is x there. So now I got 188 is equal to 2 times 3x, which will be 6x, 2 times 6, which will be 12, and then we got 2x there. Alright, so this is a simple linear equation. So now I have 188 minus 12 is equal to 6x plus 2x, which is 8x. 188 minus 12, that will be 176, is equal to 8x. So now all I have to do is divide by 8. 176 divided by 8 is equal to x. So therefore, x is equal to 22. So here I define the breadth as x. Okay, so remember we defined the breadth here as x. So therefore my breadth is 22 meters, and then the length was defined as 3x plus 6, so that will be 3 times 22 plus 6, so that will be 66 plus 6, which is equal to 72 meters there. How do you know if this is correct? Let's check. Okay, so the circumference must be 188. We're just checking if our values are correct. So the perimeter, circumference means perimeter, same thing. So your perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the breadth. So what was the length and what was the breadth? We just worked it out there. Our length was 72 and our breadth was 22. So that will be 144 there, and this will be 44 also. Right, so 144 plus 44, that will be 188 meters. As we're given, you can check it on the calculator.